Yo, what's going on? Episode 29 of Weekly Sports Talk with Ed. Gonna get started here in a second. What's going on? Got a lot to talk about today. Well, I don't know how long it's gonna be. Cause I'm doing a book review. I'm gonna be talking about sports betting. Got to get this link sent out. Just waiting for some more people to get in here before I get started. I don't even think I got nothing much to say about basketball today. And I got two NBA jerseys up. Still get a new one. But I'll wait another few minutes, get some more people in here, then I'll get started. Just for people that's into volleyball, the pro volleyball season has started. It's going on for 2 weeks now. I ain't talked about it much last week. I did athletes of the week, and I talked about some. I forgot who I gave it to last week, but I'm gonna have a segment directly focused on the Pro Volleyball Federation. Cause it's been some pretty entertaining games. Speaking of that, I gotta get my notebook, my other notebook for one of these games that I was watching. It was the Atlanta Vibe, I think, or somebody else. The Atlanta Vibe and Columbia Fury. That was a fun game. So I'm gonna have to get into that later in this episode of the podcast. That was cool. Yeah, the Pro Volleyball Federation. That's a fun league to watch. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna get more into that later into the episode. Kind of confused on what's going on with Powerhouse Hobbs and AEW. And man, I have a lot to say about Tony Khan and the way he's been booking stuff. But Powerhouse Hobbs, they had him lose to Kestra. Then he's lost again to John Moxley. So he lost back-to-back title matches for no reason, really. Because he lost that match to Kestra. There was no point in putting him in the match against John Moxley just for it to have the same ending as every other John Moxley match in his title reign. Which I don't even know who's going to take that title off of John Moxley. Darby climbing Mount Everest. So, I mean, Christian Cage could cash in. Edge or Colt, whatever you want to call him winning. I'd be surprised by that. Jeff Jarrett is in the title picture, I guess. But I don't see him winning. I don't think it'll make sense for Jeff Jarrett to win the title. 12 world titles. I'm trying to see where did Jeff Jarrett win 12 world championships. I guess in WCW and TNA. That's crazy. 12-time world champion and Jeff Jarrett in the same sentence. That's okay. Yeah, I don't know how Jeff Jarrett won 12 world championships, so that's interesting. That's a lot I gotta say about AEW. Cause man, Tony Khan, he needs. I don't know who was running these shows, but it's not that great. Like one night I tuned out of Dynamite and ain't watch it. Samoa Joe return. Then I caught up on the highlights the next day. I ain't even have a rating for this week's show. I forgot who I picked for athlete of the week for AEW. Pick somebody. Supposed to be doing. They doing this 12-man tag team match tonight on Collision. Probably won't watch that because Collision isn't entertaining to watch. So, what else? Penta made his WWE debut. I talked about this in one of my videos, but those extra 25 minutes, they could have used that for at least another match and another promo segment, but they didn't. They didn't have commercials in Penta's match or the main event, because when they showed the highlight of Priest doing whatever he did to Priest through the table, he ended up, they showed the highlight, and that's when the stretcher got brought out. So, yes. So they didn't have commercials in two of the matches. And like I said, I still feel like Lyra and Dakota Kai should have main evented, but it's fine. It was a solid episode of Raw. I had a bunch of notebooks. Hold on. What did I get at Raw rating? I gave that Raw, what did that? I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. I enjoyed that Raw. It probably would have been a 9 if they let Lyra and Dakota Kai main event. Oh, this SmackDown was terrible also. I didn't enjoy this past SmackDown. I'm talking about all the stuff that I probably won't talk about later, because I don't have nothing about SmackDown on the list. I mean, SmackDown was a terrible watch. I was trying so hard to stay awake during SmackDown. It was Piper Niven and B-Fab that did it for me. That match put me to sleep. Like, I knew it was happening because they had announced before they went to a commercial. Then I fell asleep. When I woke up, my head was still down, and I just heard, what's her name, Lillian Garcia saying that Piper Niven won. I ain't even see the attack with Mi Chen or whatever. Like, my dad told me that Mi Chen came out there and attacked her. I ain't even see that. That's crazy. But, I'm trying to see what else. Oh, that Corey Graves situation is crazy. So, apparently, I'm tired of people acting like they wouldn't be mad at the same way Corey Graves was. Like, no matter who it is, no matter when you get demoted, how you get demoted, you're going to be mad in that situation. Corey Graves, that's when we know how to speak out. And there's probably other people that have spoke out too and got suspended for it, but we don't know much about it. So it's like, when he speaks out and he gets in trouble for it, that's cool. But it's like, these legends like Jim Ross and these other people acting like, oh, well, he can't be mad because of this and that. That's stupid. I mean, if you get demoted, of course you're going to be mad. But yeah, but pretty much that's the intro for everything, because I'm going to be doing a book review for Becky Lynch, Not Your Average Girl. It was a fun read. That's going to be the first thing I get into. Then I'll be recapping some of the stuff that happened in the Pro Volleyball Federation this week, talking about sports betting and the impact it has on games now, athletes of the week, and that's going to be at the end of the show, some NFL picks. What's up, Couch? Yeah, let's get into this, the man's Becky Lynch, Not Your Average Girl book review. Right here, about 370 pages. For the plot, I gave it had like 5 or 6 different things wrote down. For the plot, I gave it a 10 out of 10. It was a clear timeline. Like, it wasn't just all over the place. Like, it was very clear and direct. And I was engaged in the book the entire time. It was some days where I didn't think I was going to read that much of it. Then it just kept getting interesting. So I just kept reading it. And the craziest part of the book is Becky Lynch was dating this one guy when she was first starting getting into WWE. And like, before her and Seth became married, they were like best friends. So she would spend the night at his house and stuff. And then she was going to get married to this guy, but she didn't really feel that connection to him. But she didn't know how to just say no. So when he proposed to her, she said yes. And then Seth, he eventually talked some sense into her. And then she didn't end up marrying that guy. Then down the line, Seth and Becky ended up getting married. And when they did that storyline against Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans, they were still like 3 or 4 months into their relationship. So it wasn't like nothing was really established at that point. That's scandalous. That's funny. But yeah, I enjoyed the plot. There was the, the plot was amazing for the book. For the characters, I mean, it's an autobiography, so of course most is real. I gave it a 9 out of 10. When Becky first got into when she first got into wrestling, her mom didn't want to do it because she was scared about injuries and stuff like that. Which it makes sense. That's always a fear as a parent if you have a kid going into any sport, especially something like wrestling. Like sure, a stage, but it's a lot of real life stuff that goes on, especially with injuries and stuff. I feel like I relate to that in a way, not like wrestling, but my dad he didn't want me to go out of state for college, but you appreciate it, couch. My dad, he didn't want me to go out of state for college, but then he eventually saw like I want to explore, do some other things, and then now he's fine with it. So once it hits August, I'm gonna be moving to Akron to go to University of Akron for college. So the characters was great. The writing style, was fun because it was more like a TV show instead of like a book. Because she put it into different seasons. Because the way it was chaptered, it would be different seasons and different uh, and putting more emphasis on certain moments of her life. So that was so I enjoyed the writing style. The recommendation I definitely say for all wrestling fans, I recommend this book because you get a deep dive into her life and her career, and then some of the stuff that goes on backstage. Like it was one point, it was this when Shayna Baszler was super hot. She was talking about it. I think there was a elimination chamber, if I'm not mistaken. She wanted to put Shayna Baszler over, but Vince wasn't going for it. It was like the thing with Vince is Vince was really selfish. So it's like either he really liked the idea or he really hated it. So it was like going to Vince's office, it's a 50-50 chance it's probably getting denied. But you got to take that risk. To read, the readability, I say I'm going to definitely reread this book at some point. I enjoyed it. So I say that's like an 8 out of 10. I might even reread it later this year because it might have been some stuff that I missed. Had to go back and see. The themes, I think the themes of the book is like a 10 out of 10, telling her life story, how, because she actually wanted to be an actor. She was going to school for acting, but then eventually she wasn't really messing with it like that. And she found her passion for wrestling. And she became one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time. So, and just her documenting her time in WWE, like when she had when she had her daughter, she was scared of what could happen because she never. When you have a kid, so much can happen, especially with her pushing stuff. So she was concerned about if she, with her having this kid, that she might not be able to get back to that level again. But it all worked out. She got that call to return at SummerSlam and beat Bianca Belair in 27 seconds, which at the end of the day, I mean, at first it looked bad, but it made a great payoff. Bianca beating Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, definitely one of the greatest moments for Bianca Belair, and that was a great match for both of them. So the emotional, logical appeal, it's like a 9 out of 10. I mean, I'm not a wrestler, so I can't directly relate, but it was a great story told throughout the entire book. So, like I said, I really enjoyed this book. I definitely recommend it to all wrestling fans to get a deep dive into her career and what really goes on backstage. And I think from this, the positives I got from reading, I would say it just gives you a break from the internet, just uh, getting off the internet for a little bit to learn new stuff that you might not have knew before. So just getting a break from the internet, that's always great because the internet can be a weird place. And then it increases your critical thinking. Like it makes you think more about what's going on, what's happening in these people's lives, and then you try to think about it. Like if I was in this situation, what would I do? This and that. So it can be very relatable in a way. But yeah, that was to start off. Got some more stuff to talk about. But yeah, like I said, I enjoyed the book. Definitely recommend it. You can find it on Amazon. Shout out to Becky Lynch, my favorite women's wrestler. Absolutely love Becky Lynch, so I had to read her book. But for the next topic, don't know how many of y'all watch volleyball, but the Pro Volleyball Federation started its second season, and it's been it's been off to a solid start. I mean, over the past few weeks, Adora Nay, she had a career high in kills. She had 27 kills in the game, and a win for the Orlando Valkyries over the San Diego Mojo. And the first week of the season, they were setting pro volleyball. They were setting records. They had what is it? They reached over 87,000 followers on Instagram, had over 350,000 views on YouTube, and the Indie Ignite sold out the arena. So that's a great first week for a Pro Volleyball Federation. It's another league. It's LOV. It's League One Volleyball, I think. I'm gonna have to find some time to check that out. The Rise and the Grand Rapids Rise and the Columbus Fury are the only teams without wins right now. They're both winless so far. Hilly Sydney for the Indy Ignite, she had a 63.6 kill percentage, which is the best by 5%. Like in volleyball, that's actually insane to have that high of a kill percentage. And then there was a triple header on Thursday, which was so interesting because it was 3 games and they all ended different ways. The Indy Ignite beat the Grand Rapids Rise in 3 sets. The Atlanta Vibe beat the Columbus Fury in 5 sets. Then the Valkyries beat the Mojo in 4 sets, which I alluded to. Then over the past week, the Omaha Supernovas, they went 1-1. They swept the Rise, and then they lost a 5-set game to Vegas. The Rise, like I said, they went 0-2 this week. They still don't have a win. Yeah, they were swept in both games that they lost. So they need to make some changes, and need to make some changes soon. The Atlanta Vibe went 2-0 this past week. They had a sweeping 1 game, won another one in 5 sets. The Vegas Drill went 1-1. They were swept by the Vibe, who, like I said, the Atlanta, they've been hot this past week. But then Vegas, they won a 5-set match against Omaha. The Indy Ignite, the rest of these teams only played once this calendar week. But the Indy Ignite, they went 1-0, sweeping the Rise. The Columbus Fury, they went 0-1, losing to the Vibe. And I'm going to talk about that game in a second. Orlando, they went 1-0, defeating Omaha in a 4-set game. Like I said, the San Diego Mojo, they lost to Orlando in 4 sets. But that'll be my other notebook to talk about that game with the Columbus Fury and Atlanta Vibe. That was a fun one. The game started off, the Fury they were down 3 early, but they ended up going up by 3. They went on a decent run. And then, this is one of the best volleyball games from this week. I have too many notebooks in here. But yeah, it was back and forth the entire time. The Atlanta Vibe won the first set, 25-3. And then the second set, it started off real competitive. The Fury, they went on to win the second set. I forgot. Yeah, they took an 8-point lead at one point, and they were on a 9-0 run. And they ended up winning that second set, 25-19. The Vibe won set. Then in the third set, the Vibe ended up winning 25-18 to go up 2-1, just back and forth the entire time. Then Cox for the Fury, she was on fire that game. She ended up helping the Fury tie it 2 sets apiece. Then to start off the 5th set, the Fury they led 8-4 halfway through it, and in the 5th set, after 8 points, they switched sides again. So then eventually it was tied up again, 13-13. Then I forgot number 12 on the Vibe. She gave them 14-13 lead in the game. But then she also made a mistake the next play, which tied at 14-14. So you had extra points in the 5th set. And then the Vibe, they ended up retaking the lead, and they'll win 16-14. Ended up winning the set 3-2, winning that last set. So that was a fun game. So yeah, and I'm going to be providing more volleyball content. Definitely got to check out some more games because I done seen a lot of action and stuff from these games. I sat down and watched that entire game. That was a fun one. And I'm going to have to go back and watch some other ones. But that's it for volleyball for today. Oh, man. AEW, Tony Khan. I got a few issues with Tony Khan and the way these shows have been booked recently. Now I just need this one notebook. So like I said, I didn't watch Dynamite this past week. Not because I didn't want to, but my TV was tripping. So then when I did go to check it out, Samoa Joe returns on the one Dynamite that I missed. And actually, I'll get back to that in a second. But this Death Rider story is ridiculous. Because I truly don't get what's going on. They shouldn't be holding trio titles hostage. The match ends the same way for every John Moxley defense. Like, I'm cool with him being champion, but the problem is every match is interference, and it's literally the same thing that Roman Reigns did for 4 years. I'm not trying to compare because I don't think Moxley holds the belt for 4 years. But how is he gonna lose when you have Darby climbing Mount Everest? You have MJF and Jeff Jarrett in the dumbest feud I've ever seen. Uh, Colt, he's not winning the title. I don't see him beating Moxley. So really, who else is gonna beat him? I mean, Christian Cage is gonna have to cash in at some point because at least he has the patriarchy on his side, and they can do something. So I rather see Christian cash in now because the Darby story is basically non-existent with him climbing Mount Everest, so it just won't happen. But then you got Edge and FTR trying to defend AEW when y'all haven't been there that long. Like everybody on part of the Death Riders group has been there longer than them. So how can you defend AEW? Then you're doing a random 12-man tag team match on Collision. Nobody cares. You're doing this. People are going to tune into Collision for the Christopher Daniels and Adam Page Texas Death Match, which that might be decent. But nobody's trying to watch a random 12-man tag team match that has the Outrunners and Powerhouse Hobbs in it. Because Hobbs lost already, so does it really matter at that point? I don't think so. So it's like if the Death Riders are going to keep cheating and keep winning, what can anybody do about it? It's like who even as the EVP anymore? Didn't Kenny Omega come back as the EVP and now he's wrestling? So where are the Young Bucks in Japan? So I don't even know who's running this show because it's clearly not Tony Khan. It's clearly the Death Riders running this show. So that is annoying. That's bad TV. Like the match ends the same way. You had these guys come in the ring to try to help out. Like Powerhouse Hobbs' leg got destroyed before Edge and FTR came out there. Bro, his leg is already broke. It don't matter what y'all do now. Death Riders broke his leg and they didn't got out of there. And like I said with Powerhouse Hobbs booking, it's like if he wasn't gonna beat, he should have beat Takeshita for the what title is that? The international title. I think I get it confused. Yeah, because Okada got the Continental. So he should have beat Takeshita for the international title so you can move on. But no, you have him lose. Then he wins the Casino Gauntlet Battle Royal to challenge Jon Moxley. What sense does that make? See, now I'm just confused on what they're doing with Hobbs because he done lost 2 title matches that he really shouldn't, and he shouldn't have been in the second one. Like, give him the international title, get it off to Kesha because he's not doing nothing with the title. That Don Callis story not moved me at all either. Like Kenny Omega and what's his name, Will Ospreay teaming up. I mean, that'd be cool, but I mean, it's still a 2-on-5 situation against the Don Callis family. But yeah, since we're still on the world title picture, MJF and Jeff Jarrett as a feud in 2025. Am I supposed to be moved by that? Am I supposed to be impressed? I mean, if anything, I'm just confused by what they're doing. Like MJF is cooking Jeff Jarrett on the mic, and then you got Dustin Rhodes talking to him backstage. Like, bro, stay on Ring of Honor. Nobody cares what you have to say. Like MJF is supposed to be your top star. Same with Swerve. Your AEW's top 2 guys right now should be Swerve and MJF. But I guess that's not the case because they got Swerve doing some silly stuff with Ricochet, which I don't even know how that's going to end. Then you got Ricochet getting beat up by Prince Nana. Are you serious? A chair shot by Prince Nana took down Ricochet, who's supposed to be this badass guy? See, that's just confusing. So it's like, how is Swerve not one of your top guys still in the world title picture? You could have had him in that Casino Gauntlet Battle Royal and Ricochet make him lose. But no, you had him lose in the triple threat match. At least. See, this is so confusing because it's like, now I'm getting sidetracked because Tony Khan is doing so much BS. I don't even know what to talk about at this point. Back to the MJF stuff first before I get to Swerve, because I wasn't even planning to talk about Swerve. But anyways, MJF, he's supposed to be a star. Definitely the best heel in AEW. But you have him come back as a heel in an Adam Cole feud when Adam Cole turned his back on MJF? Are we serious? Since when does that make sense? It's like when they have Liv being the heel in the feud with Rhea Ripley, when Rhea was the one that turned on Liv to begin with in 2022. So now we're just doing stuff. Like there's no clear line between who's a heel, who's a babyface. None of that matters. And then you have the Undisputed Kingdom get back. Like MJF still mopped the floor with Adam Cole and won the match in a 1-on-3 basically. Because what was actually names don't even matter. The Undisputed Kingdom back together and nobody cares. MJF won, nobody cared. MJF waited a whole year to talk about his championship. You lost it at World's End in 2023. All of 2024, he put on some good matches, had some good feuds. He was the international champion. But if he really cared that much about the world championship, he would have been tried to get it back. And now he's doing this silly feud with Jeff Jarrett that isn't moving anybody. Like, I don't want to see this on my TV screen. It's not going to be a pay-per-view worthy match. Are they going to seriously put this on at Revolution or whatever's coming up next? I hope it's not a Revolution because that's going to be stretched out to March. So if they have something this month, or I don't think they got nothing this month, if they have something in February or whatever, that better be a regular TV match because that's not pay-per-view worthy. Nobody wants to see that. Like I said earlier, when did Jeff Jarrett win 12 world championships? Somebody please tell me because I really don't know when. Back to the Swerve thing. This Swerve and Ricochet robbery, they have to have a match. And if Ricochet doesn't end up in the Hurt Syndicate, I think it's all downhill from here. Because if you're doing all this, then I'm confused on what really the goal is of this Ricochet heel turn. Because he's essentially going to be doing the same thing he did in WWE. That's the biggest fear right now for Ricochet and anybody that's a fan of him. Because he's a really good wrestler. He can wrestle. Now, he sucks on the mic. He really needs a mouthpiece, which is why sticking him with the Hurt Syndicate would be perfect. So you do have Ricochet and Swerve wrestle. If Swerve lose on a regular TV show like a Dynamite or a Collision, nobody really cares. But if you say this for a pay-per-view and have Ricochet wins, that becomes a problem because Swerve hasn't had a big win in a while. So he kind of needs this win. He can't afford to lose again, especially if you're trying to hype it up as this big match and they going back and forth and all this, and Ricochet getting took out by Prince Nana or whatever. Like, are you serious? That's the guy that took out Ricochet and he's supposed to be this believable bad guy now? So it's all over the place. What else? Who was beating Mercedes Moné? Because I don't know what happened to Camille after she said that she quit working for Mercedes. So she quit, then she just disappeared. So we're not getting that match? Because back in, what was it, November? We was thinking, that's definitely going to be a match, Camille and Mercedes at some point for the TBS Championship. You build up Camille some more, then have her become the next TBS champion. But it's like, Mercedes can't lose to nobody. She didn't beat Willow Nightingale for the title. She didn't beat Chris Statlander twice. She didn't beat Britt Baker. I'm trying to see who. I feel like I'm forgetting some other people. And it's like she done ran through the whole roster at this point. I don't really know who she's going to lose the belt to. So it's like, is Camille even a value? Does it even make sense for her to lose to Camille at this point? That's probably not even the best decision. Because all these other talented people and well-known people, even the match with Queen Abinata wasn't a championship match. But if they can't beat Mercedes Moné, what's going to make believable that Camille can? This is my problem. So if anything, my idea is have Athena lose that Ring of Honor World Women's Championship, bring her back up to AEW and have her beat Mercedes. Because at this point, nobody else is going to be able to do it. Like, she's looking unbeatable. Like, I think Mariah May retained in her match against Toni Storm, but I believe Toni Storm could win. No matter who you put against Mercedes at this point, I don't see them winning. Even Mina Shirakawa in that match they had at Wrestle Dynasty or whatever New Japan event that was, Mercedes still won that one. So it's like, who is she going to lose to? And she's ran through most of the roster and most of the mid-card women on the roster. The only place she can go is up and move up to the main event scene. So she has to lose it to somebody. And my idea is Athena. Have Athena take the title off of her. Have Athena lose to somebody in Ring of Honor. She done had it for almost 800 days. So she'll be fine losing it then coming back up to AEW to get that bigger spotlight where she'll actually be on TV. Because she's one of the most talented women there. So you booking yourself into a hole, making her look unbeatable. Like, Mercedes hasn't lost a match since she's been in AEW. So I don't really know what the plan is there. What else? Oh, the runtime. Oh my goodness. The show always goes over time. Oh goodness. And I didn't even watch it this week, but literally every show goes over time. And I was like, maybe it's just happens on a rare occasion or whatever. But it's like, no, it actually happens every single time. Every show it goes over time. I went to a Dynamite last year. The show went overtime by 13 minutes. So I didn't even stay for the rest of, what's the one show, Rampage they used to do? I left at the start of the main event because I wasn't staying any longer. Because it's like, they put on fun shows and it'd be and they do be having some pay-per-view level TV shows, and it'd be great. But it's like the runtime is insane. Like you're on a 2-hour time limit, and you're using 2 hours and 13 minutes. Like just make it 2.5 hours, because you do have a lot of talent, and some of that talent could get more time. But the show is consistently going overtime. It's not the best idea. I mean, that makes sense. You're trying to get your top stars in the best storylines possible. But the problem is, you're not putting on the best storylines possible. The Devil story was dragged out and stupid. What even happened to Warlow? What does he do now? Is he even employed at AEW? See, you have, what is Adam Cole doing now? What is the Undisputed Kingdom doing? And nothing. They're trash. They're not doing nothing now. They're essentially drivers in AEW at this point. They're not doing anything. What else? Trying to think. The Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander are friends all of a sudden. Chris Statlander's just a babyface again. They're laughing it up like they're just cool again, like they didn't put each other through hell in the year 2024, especially in the summer. Like, okay, like they all buddy now again. This just remind me of Bayley and Sasha Banks. Like if AEW does, WWE did. I don't know why WWE did it, but Vince with Sasha and Bayley, like the frenemies gimmick lasted way too long. Did it with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn is still going on now. And I have a feeling AEW is going to do the same thing with Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale. Like, you know what? Let's get some tag team championships. Make them the tag champions for the women's division. AEW has a lot of titles anyways. Why not get another one? Get rid of one of the men's ones and replace it with a women's tag team championship. And you can actually build some women's feuds. That's one thing I talked about. I had that video about women. I got to do something to make it entertaining. But yeah, Collision and Dynamite, they need to be their own separate brands. The way that WWE has Raw and SmackDown, AEW needs to make Dynamite and Collision its own brand. And I thought that's what the goal was when they had CM Punk return on Collision. But what's that, last year? Or no, that couldn't have been last year. No, 2 years ago in 2023. Yeah, CM Punk was in WWE last year. But Collision and Dynamite need to be their own brands. Because it's too many feuds that spark from Collision and go right into Dynamite. Like, Thunder Rosa had a match at World's End at the end of last year, and I was so confused. And the problem was that the feud was built up on Collision, and then it just randomly got to Dynamite. So I was like, okay, that's great. Because people aren't tuned in to Collision. So you need to have because obviously you have multiple shows. You have you got Dynamite, Collision, and you got Ring of Honor. So obviously keep the Ring of Honor people on Ring of Honor unless you need to call somebody up or make a trade or do something. Then with Dynamite and Collision, you need to have certain guys on these shows. Like if you want to have Swerve Strickland, and like if you want to put the Hurt Syndicate, Swerve, and MJF on Dynamite, do that. Then you put a Ricochet. Actually, no, keep Ricochet on Dynamite with Hobbs and them, because that would be not with Hobbs, but keep Ricochet on Dynamite with the Hurt Syndicate, Swerve, and that's a lot of black people on a Wednesday night. I know, but you get the point. Keep them on that show, and then Collision, you have like a Powerhouse Hobbs to catch the. I'm trying to think. What's them? The Acclaim, like. Do something like that. And obviously, with the tag teams, it's going to be a little tricky. But if you have your tag team action going on Dynamite, then you have your trios actions going on Collision, like, get those titles off the Death Riders. They do not need them. Like, they're not doing anything with them. Like, you're going to be champions. Y'all need to be defending the titles. This was the problem. This is the problem with a lot of part-timers. Like, they're not even part-timers, which makes it worse. Like, the Death Riders are full-time, and they're not defending the titles. Like when you have part-time guys that aren't defending the titles, it's like, okay, well, you hope they'll be on TV some more, but they got a part-time schedule and this and that. But it's like they're on a full-time schedule. And Pac took a vacation as trio champions, and nobody talked about this. It was no problem with this. So it's like people don't even know the titles exist anymore at this point. I mean, I keep up with it, so I do, and I want to see a new team have them. But trio titles mean nothing. They just added them for no reason. And it was people saying the WWE should do this. No, because they would have did the exact same thing. They wouldn't have been used. They wouldn't have been doing nothing with them. And speaking of the part-time schedule, that's another thing I just thought about. At the end of the day, these wrestlers going to take part-time schedules because they have families to raise. They have lives to live. Like they can't just dedicate their entire lives to wrestling. Like I know some wrestlers say that they do that, but once you have a kid, you have a family that you got to take care of. You're gonna take a different schedule, a different route, because you want to do everything you can to provide for that kid. So at the end of the day, if you get offered part time, if you have a kid and you want a part time schedule, you're asking for a part time schedule at the end of the day. But yeah, Collision, Dynamite needs to be their own brand. Needs to be like a Raw and SmackDown, and I think it'll work perfectly fine because both of those shows are 2 hours. You can get a lot more action in. You can tell some more stories. Then once you get to pay per view, some of these feuds will make more sense. Some of the matches will make more sense that are on the shows. People won't be confused. Like people won't. I'm pretty sure half the people that was watching World's End, they were confused that Thunder Rosa and Mariah May was a match because what had they done to build it aside from one Dynamite before that? They had been building the feud on Collision, and you wouldn't have known that if you don't follow them on Instagram or YouTube. Like it just seems like it comes out of nowhere. And then those are my main issues with AEW. I mean, it reminds me of the one MJF promo where he asked Tony Khan to fire him, and he called him an effing mark. But it's like at the end of the day, MJF was right, and he still is. I mean, at least about calling him a mark. I don't know why he said. Now him asking to be fired, MJF is crazy for that. But that's a crazy promo. But he is right. Tony Khan is a mark for this, and it's like some people you booking too strong. It's way too much 50-50 booking. Oh my goodness. Tony Khan, you keep making me think of more problems. But yeah, the 50-50 booking is terrible. Like Will Ospreay and Cal Fletcher, they're gonna run it back again. We did. Cal Fletcher should have just won the second time. Like, there's so many problems with AEW. I'm tired of talking about it. I don't want to talk about Tony Khan anymore. All right, but the next topic, sports betting, because that was the second main topic of this podcast. The impact that sports betting has on games now. Like you can bet on anything. You've always been able to bet on things like horse racing and stuff in the past. Now you can bet on basketball, football, baseball, hockey, all this other stuff, even horse racing still. And it's like I think sports betting has a really negative impact on the game. I think most of the people, like when people talk about the ratings being down and stuff, it's because people, and I already made a video about this for the NBA why the ratings are down, but it's like there's people that actually get mad over this stuff, and it's like they'll go into a player's DMs and call them racial slurs, be disrespectful, and to call them this and that. Because you didn't have a certain amount of points, like a That's Brandon Ingram, for example. I think his over under in a playoff game was like 21, and he got the under. And then some people were mad. I know some people that can bet, and they'll be fine with it. They don't call players names or nothing, but it's like people are doing this every day, actually getting upset that a player don't hit the over or under. Like Brandon Ingram, he's not a playoff performer for what we've known so far. So if you take his over, that's on you. I mean, at the end, like Jonas Valanciunas was the Pelicans' best player in that series, which is crazy to say because Zion was out and Brandon Ingram was underwhelming. But it's like people, they invest like their entire life savings into this, and they hit one time and they think, if I keep going, then I can make a lot of money. Like you just have to stop at some point. Like I tried to get into it, I did it for like a week, but I didn't stop now. Not saying that I stop forever, like I won't do it again, but it's like you have to draw a line. Like you have to be like, I'm gonna bet this much money in this amount of times a week. Like if you bet once a month or something like that, I don't think it's no problem. But if it's like, let me do this 3 times a week, like I think that becomes a problem. Then you got then it's crazy because everybody's promoting it like it's the biggest thing now. Like, oh, you can make all this money and stuff with sports betting, and you can, it's true, but it's like it's not always gonna hit. And it's like they promote the sport, like the NBA does it, wrestling companies do it, even podcasts do it. Like they promote this, like, oh, check out these apps, DraftKings, Underdog, Sportsbook, all this other stuff. You can put all this money on these games and stuff, but then you're gonna add a gambling addiction number. How you gonna tell people to gamble, then put an addiction number right next to it? That don't make any sense. If you're promoting gambling, people are gonna gamble and put money on these games and make parlays and stuff. So then when people have all these addictions with gambling, y'all wonder why. It's because y'all are the same companies promoting it. It don't make any sense. Are you saying, oh, I got this special deal for Baker Mayfield to have over zero point 0.5 yards, and people are gonna be expecting that special deal all the time. It don't make sense. Like at WrestleMania, they had WWE had a thing with DraftKings that was like the over under on Roman Reigns Superman punches is 5.5. Are you serious? 5.5? Number one, that's crazy. And number two, why are we betting on scripted sports? I mean, obviously it's not so the sports betting is really taking over the game, but I don't really see any positives in sports betting. I mean, you can make money off of it, but it's like these sports companies like the NFL and the NBA, these podcasts, they keep promoting it, and then they wonder why people have addictions, so they got to add, well, if you have a problem with gambling, call this number. Why don't you call the number if you promoted it? See, that don't really make sense to me. Like I said, another problem is just making threats to athletes. Like you really go out of your way to DM an athlete, call them a racial slur, say something negative about them. Like, okay. I mean, if a player underperform or something like that, I'm gonna say something. But I'm not getting that upset if I lose some money because player A didn't have, like Saquon Barkley didn't get that touchdown in that game against the Packers. Like, I'm not gonna lose my mind because he didn't get a touchdown. I just made a bad bet and lost some money. That's all it is at the end of the day. That's about it for that. And then oh yeah, NFL playoff predictions because I ain't posted this on my story. But I got the Chiefs winning against the Texans. I think the Chiefs gonna start slow since they done had 23 or 24 days off since they rested their starters in their last game. I don't think the Chiefs are still gonna win. I think it'll be like a 10-point game at worst. I think the Texans can keep it close, even without Diggs and uh what's Tank Dale. They still looked great last week against the Chargers. They started slow, but they eventually picked it up. So I do think the Chiefs win this game and head to the AFC Championship once again. But I think it's gonna be a fun one. I think now one of these games is gonna be disappointing because I don't think we'll ever get what we got in 2021, where all four of the divisional games ended on a game-winning drive. The Lions and Commanders, I see the Lions blowing out the Commanders in this game. I mean, Jaden Daniels, he's looked great in his rookie season, but I think I'll be surprised if the Commanders keep it close. I do think the Lions blow them out and win this game. And we're going to have serious conversations about Jared Goff being a top five quarterback. Like I was not thinking that at the start of the season. I knew the Lions would be good, and I definitely saw them as a contender team. But I was not thinking about we might be having to put Jared Goff in top five conversations. But that's for the AFC. Well, that's for I think those today's games. Then for the Rams and Eagles one, this unfortunately I think the Rams beat us in this game. We don't have C.J. Gardner Johnson or Kobe Dean, and then the way the Rams. Now I wasn't surprised that the Rams beat the Vikings because I've been trying to tell people all year Sam Darnold is not that good. He still had turnover problems throughout the entire season. Don't know why people call him an MVP candidate. He got exposed for the fraud he is, but I do think the Eagles are losing in the divisional. We didn't look good last week against the Packers. We won the game, but it wasn't very promising watching that game. Obviously, Jalen Hurts was just coming off the concussion, but the Rams got 9 sacks last week, and their best defensive player, Jared Verse, didn't even have a sack. So that's a scary thought to think about. And I seen that Jared Verse called out Eagles fans, whatever. Don't really care. At the end of the day, our goal is to win, and if we don't do that, I'm gonna be disappointed. But I do. Actually, I can't even be disappointed because I don't think we win this game without two of our best defensive players. But if the Rams can get that type of pressure, and Jared Verse had a lot of pressures too, and he had a touchdown. But if the Rams can get 9 sacks and Jared Verse not have one, who's probably gonna win Defensive Rookie of the Year, that's a scary thought to think about. And I think Kyron Williams, I think he in for a big game. He had 76 rushing yards last week. He might get up to 90 in this game. Uh, what else? Cooper Cup and Puka Nakua. I think they in for some big games too. Tyler Higbee led the charge last week. And you got to think if Tyler Higbee can lead the charge in a blowout win against the Vikings, who are one of the best defensive teams, imagine what they can do against the Eagles. So I do think it'll be close. But I see, and then AJ Brown, obviously the memes are funny of him reading stuff, but he had his worst game of the season last week, and that can't happen again. And if that does happen, then that's gonna be a rough game for the Eagles to win. So I do think we losing this one. I think it'll be close. Now the one that I'm really iffy on is the Ravens and Bills because this game is going to be a lot of fun. But both Lamar and Josh Allen, two of the top 3 MVP candidates. They both need wins in this game. This is a must win. If this game is close, I don't think much will be said about the other quarterback. But if one of these teams is blown out, it will be a lot said. Like if the Ravens blow out the Bills, it's going to be a lot said about Josh Allen. Or if the Bills blow out the Ravens, it's going to be a lot said about Lamar Jackson. But I do think it's going to be a close game. It's not going to be like the game they had early in the season when it was 35-10, if I'm not mistaken. But I think the Ravens get this and head to the AFC Championship once again. I think Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen went on the road this season. But I see the Ravens winning this one in a close game. It's going to come down to a field goal or a touchdown to end the game. That's how I see the Ravens game and Rams game ending with like a game-winning touchdown or field goal. I think the Lions win by about 14. I think the Lions win about 17 or more. I don't think the Commanders stand a chance in that one. And I think the Chiefs win by 10. So I got the Chiefs and Ravens in the AFC Championship and Rams and Lions in the NFC Championship. And Jared Goff versus Matthew Stafford, that'll be such a funny dynamic that these two guys were traded for each other. Then they end up in the championship. But I do think the Ravens and Lions end up in the Super Bowl. And I got the Lions winning. But that's it for those predictions. And about Lamar, where'd that white woman go? Is Lamar Jackson quarterbacky enough for you? And then on Sunday, I'm gonna be dropping my college football championship preview. These are teams that had a first round. All the teams that had a first round bye ended up losing, which is absolutely crazy. So the 12-team format was a success. I'm gonna be making a video about the 12-team format later this month. And then on Monday, I'm gonna do my divisional round recap. This is gonna be kind of like And now it's almost the end of the podcast. So you know how we always end it. You got to do athletes of the week. For the NFL, along with Lamar, the Ravens beat the Steelers 28-14. Lamar Jackson showed how quarterbacky he was. 16-21, 175 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 15 carries and 81 yards. Had a phenomenal game, leading the Ravens to a 2-touchdown win against the Steelers. For WWE, I went with Penta making his debut against Chad Gable, and was an amazing match to start off Raw. Probably the best wrestling match I've seen this week. Then he cut a great promo afterwards. For TNA, I went with Leon Slater. If y'all seen the TNA recap video, y'all see how I felt about the opening match he had with Trent Seven. That was a lot of fun. Shout out to both of them, because both of them guys can wrestle. I enjoyed that match. For New Japan Pro, I went with Sumi Saka. She won her retirement match in a really weird 3v3 match. It was a lot of fun and also weird at the same time. I don't know how to describe it, but that pretty much, shout out to her. For AEW, I just ended up going with Toni Storm, since she won the Casino Gauntlet Battle Royal to face Mariah May for the Women's World Championship. So they're going to do that rematch. Toni Storm's still a rookie. Now, I wonder how this match is going to play out with Toni Storm and Mariah May. Is memory going to come back to her or what when she has this match? For the Pro Volleyball Federation, I went with Adora Ney. As I said earlier, 27 kills in the Valkyries 4-set win versus the San Diego Mojo. Then for the NBA, had to go with Domantas Sabonis. The Kings went 2-1 in this past week. Sabonis had 3 double-doubles. He had 7 or more assists in each of his last 3 games. Shot 61% from the field or better in each of his last 3 games. Then they had wins against the Bulls and the Rockets, who have both been on fire recently. Like the Bulls have actually been getting some wins lately, and the Kings shut them down. The Rockets were one of the top teams all year. The Kings got that win. They unfortunately lost to the Bucks in a game that didn't look too good. But Domantas Sabonis, he was great. So shout out to him. And I think that's gonna do it for this episode of Weekly Sports Talk with Ed, episode 29. Make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Comment down your thoughts below on stuff that I talked about. Let me know if you want to see me keep doing the live streams for the podcast. Might consider it, might post a poll to see what y'all thinking. Like I said, hey, make sure y'all check out Becky Lynch's book. I'm not getting paid for this, but it is a great book. Make sure you check it out. And I'll do some more book reviews because I got another sports book I'm reading, so I'll review that at some point whenever I get finished with it. But that's it for this. So peace out, y'all.